All right. So hi everyone. Uh, so today's session is on the team standards, as you all know. So the team standards session will be facilitated by me, Sandeshi, as VPPM, and let's set some expectations first. So this is a very important session. We kept telling you all this, so pay attention. And I'll be using both Sinhala and English for the benefit of most of us. But if there are Tamil boys and girls in the call, don't worry. I'll make sure that you don't miss out the important points. And this will be interactive. Like I want to make this interactive, so I'm going to give you all the liberty of asking questions or giving feedback at any time. All right. So because this is important, I decided to do that. So you all can just ask me anything at any time. All right. And the presentation will be shared with the TLs, managers, and specialists after the session. So don't worry.
All right. So, in order to start our session on the team standards, we'll first answer the question of what team standards are. All right. So, pay attention. Okay. So, the team standards are a team leader's guide to creating good team experiences. All right. So, from there, you can understand what it means. But let me just give you a sort of like the history of team standards. So, in 2013, this concept was actually introduced as the minimums. All right. The reason it was called the minimums is because it was the minimum expectations that was required of a team leader. Okay, so that was like the minimum expectations they were supposed to deliver to their team members. So by that you can understand how important it must have been for team leaders to call it the minimums, right? Anyways, later this was revised as and introduced as the team standards. And earlier there were actually 35 action steps under the minimums, but right now we have only 9. So there are 9 team standards, and it's actually really, really simple now. So this is something that you need to, as team leaders, for the team leaders that are in the call, for the managers and the specialists as well, you guys need to keep these team standards in mind and understand what they are in order to give a good team experience to your team members. All right. And the reason that this is important is because if you give a good team experience to your members, that will determine the success of your team as well. So that is why you need to keep these in mind. All right. So in order to understand the team standards better, we'll first go through the phases of a team. All right. So any team outside of ISAC or inside of ISAC goes through these phases. But in ISAC, we have specific names for these three phases as building, performing, and closing. So the first one you see is the building phase or the stage. So in the building stage, this is where the team comes together. It's where they are formed. They decide what they're going to do, why they're a team, and what they want to achieve as a team. And then that leads on to the second stage, performing. That is where any plan that they made in the building stage, they will put into implementation in the second, that is the performing stage. And there you will achieve your numbers, do the things that you have to do as a team. And then thirdly, you have the closing stage. That's the final phase. So in the closing stage, it's basically you close down, you close up the team experience, you wrap it up. And that is where you'll be preparing all the final documents, the reports, and you, if there's a successor in the team, you give the successor everything that's necessary, and basically you dissolve the team. Okay, so these are the 3 phases that you need to know: building, performing, and closing. But right now, like on the screen, you might see like these are all like these look like equal steps, but in reality, these look a little bit like this. All right, so you can see that the performing stage is a little bit longer, is much longer than building and closing. All right, now if in the top part, you can see I've put the months from February through July. I've put the names of the months. Now this is because this is the team cycle. So don't worry about the technical terms, but a team cycle basically means the time period in which a team is active. All right, so in Sri Lanka, in all the ISAC entities have very specific team cycles that start on February or in August, and end in July or in January. So the team cycle that we are in right now started on the 1st of February and will go on under normal circumstances, will go on until the 31st of July. All right, and then the next team cycle will start on the 1st of August and go on until the 31st of January the next year. Okay, so basically it's like 6 months. All right, so now I've put these the faces of the team in these like columns. All right, so you can see the building block, the building block, the building phase in the February month. Okay, now you can see performing is a little bit different because the performing stage has overridden this line that separates February and March. Now, why is that? It's the same here also. It has overridden this line that separates June and July. Why is that? No, right? It's because it's how the team phases go on. It's like කූඩල්ල වර එක තැනක් අතෑරලා නෙවෙයිනේ ඊළඟ තැන අල්ලගන්නේ. අනිත් තැන අල්ලගෙන තමයි කලින් තිබ්බ තැන අතාරින්නේ. අන්න ඒ වගේ තමයි. Basically, you start on the building phase, and then you, like, at some point in February, you also have to start the performing stage, and then you go on until July. And then while performing is going on, you have to start closing also. So as a team leader, you can't say, okay, I'm still doing my numbers. We still have work, so we can't start on closing. No, you can't say that because that goes together. All right, now keeping these phases in mind, we'll delve a little bit deeper into each phase, okay? So earlier I said team standards, there are 9 team standards. So the 9 team standards are actually divided equally under these phases. So we have 3 team standards for building, 3 for performing, and 3 for closing. All right, so building. In building, we have 3 steps kind of. So these, the first one is called introduction, then you have plan, then you have the persona goal setting. Okay, so introduction is basically you getting to know your team members, and if you're a member, then getting to know your team leader, things like that. And then you bond as a team for the first time. And here induction means you get to know, basically the team members have to get to know what the function is about and what they're going to do. And in the planning stage, you have the team purpose, or the team, you have to set your team purpose, the expectations, the goals, how you're going to get there, that's the strategies, the budget, the job description, and deadlines. So this is where you will set all of those. So this part, the JD, is very important because this is where you will decide what each of your team members are going to do. All right, and then the third one, you have the personal goal setting. Note that here it's about the team's goals, and here this is about individual goals. So if there's, you can ask your team members, is there anything that they want to learn, or they want to, do they want to get a specific development out of their team experience? Then here is the place that you discuss all of those and set a goal. Setting goals is not enough. You need to have an action plan as well. So these 3 are under building. It's not easy. You first get to know, then you plan, then you set the personal goals. All right, now on this side, you can see I've put some check boxes and they're already ticked. Now, why is that? It's because the building stage, it has already happened. So as I know, most of the teams inside the LC have already gone through these. Like, you might not have known the names properly, the standards, but you have already done these 3 standards as far as I know. If you haven't, then I don't know what to say, but if you have, then you can be happy that you have already ticked these boxes. All right, we'll go on to the next one. Performing. So in a session earlier, the performance tracking and meetings part, I did the team meetings session, like the section, and I already explained to you why we do team meetings, how we do it, and also the one-to-ones, how we do it, and why we do the one-to-ones. So here also there are 2 standards dedicated to these 2 especially. So the regular team meetings, this is where you track and review your team plan and your performance. And in your regular one-to-ones, this is where you track and coach the individual performance and personal goals. Here, note the word coaching, because it's not just important that you track your members, it's important that you coach them individually. And I don't know if you remember, I hope you do, that in the one-to-ones, I also said that if there are problems within the team, like for a team member, this is where you get to know those problems, because you get to have a one-on-one talk with them. All right, and next you have the team day. Okay, so team day is basically for the team to bond, do some fun activities, and especially for rewards and recognition, for appreciation. You can appreciate for what they've done. Like normally, like whenever they do something, you have to appreciate, but the team day is specially dedicated for that. All right, so you all can go out, have some fun, do some things, yeah. So these 3 standards are there for performing: regular team meetings, regular one-to-ones, and team days. Now here, these boxes are there, but they have not been ticked. right? Why is that? It's because the performing stage is still going on, right? So as soon as you're done with the performing stage, we can tick these boxes as well. So they're still empty. All right, we'll go on to the next one, closing. Okay, so in the closing, you have another 3 standards, report. In the report part, this is where you will be comparing the plan. Remember I said you have to make a plan in the first stage, we are in building. So this plan you will compare with what you achieved so far in your team cycle. Then you compare that and you see whether your key results have been achieved or not achieved, right? And in especially for IGVs, I know that you all have to create a budget. So if you guys have to create documents like that, then this is the part where you prepare all those documents and finalize everything. All right. And then if you have to report to your LCVP about what you did, then this is the same. It's the standard that you have to follow. All right, and then next you have transition. Transition here is actually, this talks about a successor. So I know you all know that as team leaders, it's not just important that you achieve numbers, you lead your team. That's all. Yes, that's all good. But as a team leader or as a leader anyway, you have to make sure that there is a successor that you can pass on that responsibility to. Right. So as a team leader, you have to create that successor. Sometimes it's not just one person. There could be 2 or 3 people who are as good enough, but you have to create a successor. And in this transition period, you will be transferring all that knowledge, the skill, the attitude, and all the documents to that successor to make sure that the LC will continue. All right. So that is very important. And then you have the debrief. So debrief is literally sitting down and discussing what you did in your team experience. All right, y'all can discuss what y'all did, what were the key learnings that you got out of it, what was the development that you got out of it, things like that. And here I've put next steps, right? So as a team leader, it's your responsibility to map out the next steps for each member. So basically you have to know their strengths and weaknesses and make sure that they will develop onto a better role. Like what can they do after this team experience? So you guys need to map it out for them and talk it with them so that you can direct them to the right position or the right experience. All right, so these are also not filled right now because the closing stage hasn't even started yet, but it will. And after it's over, we can take these also. All right. Now you know the team standards. How does it work? So how it works is VPPM supports team leaders to deliver team standards, and then team leaders deliver to team members. So that is what I'm doing right now. Right now, I'm teaching you all the team standards and I'm telling you all how to implement them. So basically, I'm supporting the team leaders to deliver, right? And the team leaders, it's actually up to you because you're at the forefront of delivering these team standards to the team members. So this is how it works. Okay, and now you all must be thinking, I hope you all are not thinking that, but if you are thinking, okay, we do the team standards, but who's going to check anyway? So we can just, forget about it. No, it's actually being tracked, right? If you're asking the question of whether it's being tracked, then yes, it is. So this is one of the trackers that I maintain on behalf of the entire LC. So here you can see, if you look at this part says building, right? So this is that phase that we talked about, the building, performing, closing. This is the building part. So you can see it's divided into subtopics as team creation, team plan, and individual plan. And then that is also broken down into subsections, which are also broken down into subsections. So these are like tiny actions that you can break it down into and make sure that it's happening inside the LC. And once I get, actually my PM team contacts each of the TL and each of the TLs and tries to see if you all are implementing this inside your teams. And once we get that output from you, then what we do is we enter that into these sheets, and then you can actually see here that there's a percentage that's been calculated based on these answers. So this is this year's, that is this team cycle's implementation. So here you can see building has 72.4%, performing and closing are not recorded still. And here they give an overall percentage as well. So basically this is being tracked by the LC, and these sheets are also submitted to the member committee of ISAC in Sri Lanka. So they are also keeping track of what's happening, the implementation of the team standards. So if you all are wondering if this is being tracked, so this is how it's tracked. And let me just tell you that this is just the building part, right? So there is performing and closing as well. But this is only that part. But anyways, let me tell you that if any one of my team is actually asking you these questions, don't lie, because these are important data and we make conclusions based on that. Like Kanil said, we make conclusions on data. So don't lie. And make sure that you're actually implementing, because it affects the performance of the LC. And the PM award is actually based on the, like, one of the criteria is team standards implementation. All right, and we'll move on. So if you got the team standards, like if you were paying attention to these 3 standards, these 9 standards, sorry, 3 for each and 9 standards, then you should be able to answer these questions. I have some scenarios. So one scenario, so basically I want you all to turn on your mic. Anyone can answer. Turn on your mic and tell me the answer, okay? So the first scenario is Amal, a TL in IGT, realized he had spent the entire amount of finances allocated to his project halfway into his team cycle. It was too late to request more money from the member committee, and he was stuck unable to complete the rest of his project. Which team standard has he forgotten? I'll give you all a hint. This is actually in the building phase. So can somebody turn on their mic and tell me? I know Bhavanti is in the call. Hirusha is in the call. So basically, this person has, spent a lot of money and has not kept to his, whatever, there's a certain amount of finances that is allocated to each project, but definitely that person has not taken that into consideration. So which part do you think he went wrong in these 3, basically?
I think it's in the plan.
Plan. Very nice. Yes, it's in the plan, because in the plan, you have to create a budget, right? You have to plan your finances and plan everything, or plan your activities according to the finances that you do have. So the planning stage is the planning standard is where he went wrong. All right. The next one. Sanduni, a team leader in OGV, was not aware that one of her team members was going through a difficult time at home and was shocked when she suddenly left the team in the middle of the team cycle. What team standard has she missed? Now, I'll give you all a hint for this also. This is in the performing stage. So which one do you think she has missed? Someone other than Hirusha, can you answer?
Regular one-to-one?
Very good. Yes, regular one-to-ones. Yes, because in the one-to-ones is where you talk to each member and you get to know their problems. You get close to them, right? So if you miss that, that is what will happen. All right, so we'll go on to the third scenario. Tilakna, a new manager in IGV, says she wasn't made aware of what knowledge or skills was required of her as a manager. Which team standard has her predecessor missed? Now, this is in the closing phase. Which one do you think she has missed? She or he has missed? Now, Tilakna basically doesn't know what is required of her as a manager. Somebody other than Hirsha and Devindi, can you answer? This part. One of these 3 is missing. Which one is missing? No answer?
Transition?
Transition, exactly, yes, transition. All right, great. So these are the 3 scenarios that I have, okay. All right, we'll go on to the next one. Okay, so right now I taught you all the team standards and everything, but right now we are in a crisis, right? So we have the COVID-19 has hit us and things like that. So basically exchanges are halted, no physical meetups, limited traveling. So how are we gonna, there are actually some standards that you have to, if you take the team day, for example, and regular team meetings, you can't do that physically, right? So if you are thinking, this is going to be difficult, don't worry. Do you think that team standards can be implemented during this pandemic? If you're wondering that, don't worry. It's actually, yes, you can, because the technology is actually very improved right now. So there are apps, there are software that you can use, like Zoom, the calendars. I've put some in the bottom, you can see. So getting team meetings, getting one-to-ones is not a problem. Planning and things like that is actually not a problem. It's very easy. And here I've put something, some of you all might know what this is, but there are actually places or software that you can use to actually have fun as a team. And let me tell you that the EB actually does this, which is why I've included this also. So we have fun sometimes using that. So if you all want to have fun, if you all want to bond, do a little something, then that is also possible. So my message to you is now, the team standards are actually, it can be implemented, like no matter what the situation is, it can be implemented if you're willing to. So don't let it, just forget about it. Okay, and the other thing is, before I finish, the other thing that I want to tell you is that I have prepared a guide for y'all. So this is the guide that I've prepared. So I will be sharing this with the TLs, managers, and specialists after my session, like after this session is done. Y'all can go through it, and you don't have to submit this to anyone or just anyone. Just y'all can keep it. If you want to use it, you can use it, because this will give you clarity on what you need to do as a team leader in order to implement these standards. All right, so I've prepared questions, sort of things that you can just you can even like download this and type in your answers. Like these are like basically yes or no questions, and it's actually easy for you to be on track and fulfill your responsibility as a team leader. So I will share this once the session is over. You all can use it if you want. Okay, so that is it right now. All right, thank you. So are there any questions?
Yes. Sandeshi, now since the pandemic time is going on, is the time period for a team standard still from February to July?
Right now, yes, but it could change. If it does change, we will let you know. Is that good? So right now, it will be mostly, we haven't actually decided that. If ISEC Sri Lanka tells us to, extend that, then we will, but we will definitely let you all know. Okay? Yeah, so thank you for joining the session today. I hope y'all are doing well, and good night. Stay safe.